let's log in. You guys want to know my password? It's password 123 and then 3 exclamation marks. Yeah, I start out usually when I first make my password, I go down the list, so I'll do password 123 exclamation, then I'll do password 123 exclamation, and then when they make me change it, that's the thing I hate is like when there's those websites or those important websites or whatever where like every 3 months or every month you got to change your password. Oh man, there's only so many ways you can type cool kid. Damn, I'm giving away a lot of information right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Slobs in the Pod. This is going to be different. You know what's funny? So real quick, I'm taking a break in March. I know it is currently Thursday, March 5th. I did say I wanted to record this solo episode announcing my break before March. That way I could actually March off. So yeah, guys, I'm taking a break from the podcast. This doesn't mean I'm quitting the podcast. I'm not stopping the podcast. I'm just gonna take I need to restructure the podcast. I'm gonna be transparent here. A couple days ago, I just had like a mental breakdown, and it wasn't just the podcast. I think it was a matter of just balancing between the podcast and work and life and family and friends and events we get invited to. Like, it was a lot going on, and I think it just all finally hit me the other night, and I think the one thing that set me off finally was I just was reflecting back on mainly like the podcast. Like, I love doing it. And now it's just gotten to the point where it's, we're going to hit 200 episodes. I specifically wanted to do this break right before we hit 200, before I got into 200 and just started going off. I didn't want to hit 200 and be like, yo, I need a break. I need to fix this. I need to, do something. I wanted to do it before we hit 200. So that's what this is. And, yeah, so, I'm not going to say it's like a mental break, like a mental, how like these artists lately have been coming out, or, when fucking Justin Bieber doesn't perform his world tour because he has to take a mental health break, which I totally respect and get it. But at the same time, like, I don't know, this one was just different for me. Like I said, just with it was crazy because it's one thing to say, yes, I've been doing this podcast for 6 years, and I'd say 6 years I've been doing the podcast. I'd say like 2.5, like legit grinding, like putting out an episode every week, stuff like that. So, it's nice to say that, but at the same time, it's kind of embarrassing because also there's nothing really much to show for in 6 years. And I know what I'm doing is wrong. I know a lot of people will tell me that, don't be so negative or whatever. But I don't know. I have to really get out of what's in my head because that's just how I feel, that, it's not a great, I don't like to celebrate that I've been doing this 6 years. I don't like to celebrate that I'm about to hit 200 episodes. Yeah, I hit 200 episodes. Cool. That really only shows that, hey, this guy doesn't give up, no matter how bad this is. And I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying there's something I'm not doing to go on this long, to do these many episodes and not even, yes. Okay. I will say this. I need to stop being so negative, and I apologize. Positives though, yes, my following on social media has definitely grown. I'd say, subscribers have gone up, not anything crazy. For the past, 3 years, the goal was to hit 500. So we're getting there. We're at 430 something. And so that slowly is going up. But like, when it comes down to like the YouTube and the audio, either views and listens are either dropping or they're staying the same, and it's been like this for too long. And I keep saying, I need to focus on this part of the podcast. I need to, work on marketing or putting myself out there as far as like social media, publicly, all that stuff. And I know there's things I'm not doing that I could be doing that I want to do, but with also, every week recording and editing and putting out the episode, posting about it, making clips, and then at the same time working on the next episode, working on notes, working on who the guest is going to be. Am I going to do it solo? What am I going to talk about? All that is always happening when I'm trying to when the goal is to put an episode every week on a specific day. So there really is no time in between all that to also add on and we'll get into it. I have a list of I have my plans that I plan to accomplish, goals I plan to accomplish during my break. And I was going to say the month of March. Maybe I did say in the beginning, but I apologize. I was thinking about it. Maybe, I don't know, man. And it's not going to be like crazy a long time. I want to jump back once I feel like I am ready. I have checked off my list of things I wanted to accomplish during the break, which is things I've been trying to get to that I couldn't because of just, constantly editing and posting and recording and all that stuff. So this is just my time that I'm going to step away from the podcast, and I'm not even really stepping away. I'm only stepping away from the point of posting every week and recording. I might even record because one of my goals is to kind of get some pre-recorded episodes. One of the things I was mainly having an issue with or struggling with was, finding time to do all this for an episode, record, edit, write notes, editing mainly the big thing, recording takes, an hour, 2, 3, whatever. And then editing is like 2, 3, 4 days, you know what I'm saying? So, it was just time away from my family, my son. And then, I'd be at work all day and then I'd get off and I'd go into town to record, which is, as we all know, I live very far from town. So that's like a good hour drive for me just to go there, spend another 2, 3, 4 hours in town, then drive back another hour and get home, and finally hang out with my kid for a little bit. But then, I got to start editing, to do all this. So that was really affecting me. And no one told me anything. No one told me anything that I was being a bad dad, or I was not avoiding my family, but just not paying attention to my family as much. No one was telling me that. I just felt that myself. One of my New Year's resolutions was to be more present, in my family's life, my son's life, my friend's life. And one of those things was being off my phone, giving them full 100% my attention. And I've been failing at that. And so, that's another thing that weighed in on me the night, I had a little breakdown. And I'm not going to lie to you, that night I was crying and saying that I think I just need to quit the podcast. It's getting in the way of family and work. Sometimes I feel like when I'm doing bad at work, it's because I'm just focused on the podcast and vice versa, And that always crosses my mind when I have these little boohoo moments. But thankfully, this is something that I feel is a reason why I need to keep doing this and continue eventually the growth of the podcast and creating a successful podcast, And something I noticed is that no matter how many times, and there was times where when I would say I just need to quit the podcast, a part of me would start thinking, whenever I like to do a pros and cons list in my head, right then and there. So when I say those things, I think I should quit the podcast, one of the pros I went to was, I have more time with my family, my friends. The podcast can get stressful or gives me crazy anxiety just because that constant feeling of anytime I'm trying to relax or anytime I'm trying to enjoy my time with Oliver or hang out with my friends or enjoy a movie with my girl. There's always that in the back of my mind, there's always that feeling honestly, you should be editing right now. You should be posting clips. You should be editing clips. You should be working on your notes for the next episode. You should be planning your next guest. You should be working on, there's always something to do with the podcast. So one of the pros, when I would think, to quit was, that stress and anxiety would kind of be gone. But then one of the cons, and one of the big cons that would really make me bust into tears, is just when I'm like, okay, if I quit this podcast, like for good, like not that, like, obviously I have my job and, that's how that's how I make the money and stuff. But with trying to make this successful, like, even, even if my mindset was, I don't want this to be, I don't care if this is successful. I just like having an outlet and putting things out no matter what, no matter who listens or how many. But that's not the case. So like, what was I getting at? I'm sorry, guys. So one of the cons, one of the big cons that really made me tear up was when I just thought like, okay, well, if I don't do the podcast anymore, like then, like, what do I do? Like, yes, other than being a father and being there for my family and then applying all that I've been wanting to do, be more present. You still need, I feel like I still need something out. Like, and not to talk shit on people that don't have any hobbies or don't have any like, things they do outside of their career or their job or, whatever. Just something that makes them happy for whatever. Like, no knock on these people that don't have anything like that. But I wonder, like, if I didn't have the podcast, like, yes, I can hang out with my kid and all this stuff. But like at the same time, like, there's still downtime. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I going to do? Like, watch a movie or like, I guess, and like, that's my thing too, is like, I'm also not, I think as I get older, my ADD kicks in. And I think that's why sometimes having the podcast really helps, because when I have that feeling of I need something to do or whatever, I can come to the podcast. I know I can edit. And so that kind of calms me down. But like, I just would think like, if I didn't have the podcast, like, what would I be doing? And not only, and even if I, there's going to be times during my break where there's going to be times where I'm just going to be in the most goofiest, amazing mood. And I'm going to be like, dude, I want to record. I have stuff I want to say. There's stuff I want to talk about. There's stuff going on right now that I want to talk about. And if I don't talk about it, like, what the fuck? So I know that if I was to quit it for good, those moments would come and they would suck. They would hurt, man. It would, I get the feeling, whenever, like, okay, so like, for instance, like in year like 3, when I was, I'd have my moments where I'd go like on a roll, posting episode, and then I'd go for like a month where I wouldn't, or 2 weeks, But in that month or 2 weeks, and this was because I wasn't taking it seriously, and I was just like, I'll post when I post, whatever. And then I started getting frustrated because nothing was happening with the podcast, and I'm like, well, no shit, because you're not consistent and all this other stuff. So, but when I would do like those months where I wouldn't record, after about a week or two, like, I'm like, man, like, bro, there's some stuff I want to talk about. I want to get this guest on, and I think we should have this conversation and talk. We've got to talk about whatever just happened. And I got this like crazy feeling, and it kind of bummed me out when I was like, oh, at the time I could just be like, okay, like, let's fucking get back and doing the podcast, and I would record that episode and it'd be great. And, but if I didn't have that option to record, and it would just be that feeling of always like, man, I wish someone would invite me on a podcast, or I wish I was still doing mine so I could, have these moments or share these moments or tell this funny story to people. So, and so, yeah, I think that was one of the big cons that made me really sad, because it was like, if not this, then what, and not because, not that I'm trying to find something to fill my time or I need a hobby. It's just, this is something that I was attracted to, magnetized to, the idea of a podcast. And I've had so much fun with it, man. I've met so many great people. I've met so many good friends, had great conversations. When I first started, it was tough because, yeah, when people would ask me, what's your podcast about? Obviously, I didn't have, even to this day, I really can't tell people what it's about without pretty much trying to explain. And I hate when people do this. I think I've talked about this before, but I've tried to explain to people that, yeah, I just have, fun conversations with friends or people, whatever, and we interview them, whatever. And they always give me the, like the Joe Rogan podcast. And it's like, I mean, I guess, yeah, but I don't know. Like, that's just what I like to do. I like to have fun conversations with people. And when it first started, when people would ask me, they'd be like, okay, well, like, who's your guest? What kind of people do you have on? And at first I didn't have a big, repertoire, or I don't know if that's even the word, but like a big list of people that I had on as guests at that time. So it was really tough to, just be like, oh, it was like one of my buddies that, he's a funny guy, tells really good stories. It was hard to explain to people that, opposed to now having almost 200 episodes, I can say, oh, I've had, shout out, are you a news anchor? I had her. We had who else? I'm sorry, my mind's blanking right now. I mean, I didn't post it yet, but I had my buddy on that was, played college football and stuff. That was, interesting to hear about, the behind the scenes in college football. It's not just being a good football player. It's also, learning how to grow up really fast right out of college. People throwing money at you and people making promises and breaking promises. It's a crazy episode, but either way. I love that I've gotten to a point where yes, I've had some very interesting guests, some fun guests, some funny guests, and so I love doing the podcast, man. And like I said, there's no way in hell I could ever quit this thing. And so getting into it, one of the things too, I do want to mention that I was really scared about in doing this break, and we can get into how the break even came about. I mean, obviously, like how I talked it over, but shout out to my really good friends, Caesar. You guys know Caesar, and my buddy Colby. We're a good, strong group of friends, us three, and we're in group chats all the time, and they're my boys, they're the guys I can talk to. Yeah, we talk shit and we make fun of each other and roast on each other, but at the same time, like if we want to have a serious conversation, and it can be anything from life, family, being a dad, to religion, they're all down for it, and they can I love them because they're not yes men, you know what I'm saying? Just because I'm like, I think this idea is great, they're like, dude, for sure. They'll tell me like, that's dumb, or I don't think you should do this, or yes, you should do it this way. They give me their input, and it really is valuable. And so for this was something that I was thinking about doing, obviously for taking a break. So I hit them up and I was like, hey guys, I just want to let you know, actually, I think I said, what do you guys, I need your opinion on something. And then I just went off, explaining everything, my breakdown, and that I was thinking about quitting the podcast. And, I've gone almost 200 episodes and I've been doing it for 6 years. Like, am I wasting my time? Do I quit it? Do I take a break and just sit back, or not sit back, but, pull back and go back to the drawing board and restructure and give myself some time to really figure out where I want this podcast to go. And yeah, sure enough, I love that they said, one, don't quit, don't stop the podcast. But they said, for sure, I really think, and it was cool because it wasn't like they were telling me anything I didn't know. It was just, they were just reassuring me I wasn't crazy in what I was thinking, or, I'm not gonna lie, asking them, I was like, cause I told them, I was like, guys, be straight up with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really think I'm wasting my time, or, you guys obviously see episodes, you watch episodes, you've been on episodes, you see feedback and stuff. You guys tell me from outside looking in, like, what would you tell me? And they're like, yeah, man, no, don't quit it. And they just gave me really good advice. And, like I said, they just pretty much, they agreed, it's time to take a break for a while and just sit and figure out what you want to do. And so, one of the things I did bring up, though, that I was kind of worried about, but, it was kind of made sense in the end. But I was scared that I was going to lose momentum. Like, lose momentum as far as, like, it's been, that song, it's stupid. I was going to say, so it's been about, I want to say, like, going on 2 weeks now, that I haven't, maybe even a month now, I don't know, that I haven't posted anything on the podcast, whether an episode or a clip or anything. And if you guys don't know, like, if you guys have like a business account or like a promote, I don't know, those accounts where you can see like analytics on your profile. I think if you have like a regular account, it's just, you just see how many followers you have and stuff. But if you have like a business account or like a creator account, whatever they want to call it, you can see analytics of how many times your page has been viewed. Every like 30 days it refreshes to let you know. And, I want to say about a month ago, it said, my profile was getting, like 100, like, honestly, it got to, I think, like like 200, 300,000 views like every, a month or something, which I know, and I know, people are always screenshotting and posting theirs, and theirs is usually a lot more. I know people that, it's mainly girls, they just post stuff, whatever they like, and they will screenshot and they post it, and it's like, 2 point some mil have viewed their profile, whatever, but fuck them, I'm saying? They only have like 1,000 followers, so it doesn't even make sense. You're telling me only 1,000 people out of 5 million people that seen your profile actually want to follow you? I think that's sad. That's all I'm saying. But so I've just noticed, like, in time I haven't been really posting on the I'd say mainly Instagram. I've seen that number drastically go down. Let me see. I can tell you right now, it's at I'm at 35K views in the last 30 days. And yeah, so like I said, I didn't want to lose momentum as far as like that number was always staying up there. It wasn't always like 100K or 200K. It was, in the actually, no, my bad. It would stay like in the 70 to 90K range normally, and then every now and then, I'd get some crazy numbers depending on who the guest was, or who, maybe a video I made that people liked, or something I tagged someone in and they shared it, And so I was worried that I was going to lose momentum, but then I thought about it. Other than like social media, like the YouTube and stuff, I don't think I'll lose any momentum. Like, I think my number is like 50 views on YouTube. It won't, and even I can't even say that like it's like around. I'd say it's probably like 45. And it's kind of been like that. Like, whenever I'll get my spikes of 100, 200, 500, and then when it goes down to it, after things die down and people aren't I don't know what's going on. I don't know if people aren't finding it good anymore. They forgot about it. They don't like it. They're tired of it. It's repetitive. I don't know. But eventually that number ends up going back down to like 40, 50 views. And so there's really no momentum I'm losing there. I think this could only help me and not hurt me. But yeah, and then another good thing I'm going to say, and I'm not embarrassed of religion or to say that I believe in God or I feel this certain way about church or God. I'm not embarrassed to talk about it. I just don't like to really talk about it because I don't know how other people feel about hearing about it. And that's not really what I'm here to do. I'm really here to just have a goofy time. But I'll say this, hanging with my boys, Caesar and Colby, even shout out my cousin Eric. I've gotten close. I'm getting close with church and God and all that stuff. And so, every now and then the boys will throw me some spiritual stuff on a spiritual level. And Caesar brought up a good point. I can't tell you specifically what he said. I'll have to ask him for it later. But he pretty much just told me there's like a Bible verse or scripture. I don't even know what they're called. I'm sorry. I apologize, God. But that it pretty much says that, in order to be successful in life. And this is not, don't quote me. This is just like when he told me it, I was like, oh, so pretty much you're saying this type thing, And the way I read it, and I'm pretty sure I'm close to it, but he pretty much says that, if you want to be successful in life or be, rich, whatever your version of riches or, successful or whatever in life on the outside, you have to first make sure that your home life, your family is good before anything. And there's more to it, I'm sure, but it's along those lines. And it really made sense. It is true. How am I going to leave my home where I'm not, maybe me and my girl aren't doing good, or I'm feeling guilty for not hanging out with my son enough. And I'm supposed to, leave my house to go an hour away to go record. And in that time, I'm feeling these ways. And I'm like, yeah, but once I get there, I'm going to be this person, and I'm going to just turn around, and I'm going to turn on and be happy Jordan, fun Jordan, funny Jordan, goofy Jordan, and everything's going to work out. And it's not true. And actually, I think I've seen that. And when Caesar told me that, it totally brought up so many times that there are times where, I know things aren't going good at home, and I know the days I have to record while things at home aren't well. Then I know the episode's usually going to be bad because I'm just so out of it. And I mean, that might be one thing, I just have so much on my mind that I don't focus on the podcast, but for sure, knowing that when I go back home, there's still problems there that I need to deal with, that just really messes with me. And so when he said that, I was like, that's so true. And so I think during this break as well, I'm gonna like the past few days. It's only March 5th. I'd say I've been taking a break as far as like not recording, not posting, not editing in about a week or two. And there, I do get those moments where I'm watching a movie with Oliver or playing with them, and I'm like, man, I should go edit after this. And I'm like, no, like you're not editing right now. That mode's done. It's turned down right now. And I give myself like an hour where I can do things as far as like a little bit of podcast editing, or not editing, but planning. I want to get to. So yeah. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought on that one. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So when he said that about everything has to be good at home before the podcast can be good, that totally makes sense, and that's what this break is really going to be too. Also, yes, another thing that when I thought about quitting the podcast, another thing I was like, how am I going to quit the podcast? I just shout out Daniel Rodriguez. You guys all know. The great he's the reason the Slobs have a home. He just this year let me start recording in a studio and stuff. So how am I going to quit the podcast now? That's insane. And I just paid a bunch of money to shout out my boy Klaus in Estonia. I think Estonia. So I don't know. I'm sorry, Klaus. I apologize. But yeah, he's my graphic design artist right now. It's really fun to say that, by the way. Shout out Klaus. I'll put his Instagram right here. If you guys don't know, he's the one that created my logo. Recently, I'll put the logo right here. We've been talking, and getting into it now. Like I said, I have goals that I want to accomplish during my break. I'm not just going to be, lazy and do nothing, other than, be with my family and spend time and with everyone. So, and be more, more present in life. But one of the things, working with Klaus after, doing the logo, then we started talking, and dude was dope. Followed the podcast, and we've been talking more and more, and we've just been getting more stuff done. And that's why also one of the things I want to start working on during this break is I want to work on like the graphics, you know what I'm saying? So obviously if you guys ever look at, the thumbnails on Instagram or on YouTube and stuff, they're bland and boring. I'll put an example right here, but they're very boring. Just nothing pops or whatever. So one of the things I was working when me and Klaus have been talking about was if he could create a thumbnail for me that it's just like an outline or like a template, pretty much. Everything looks the same pretty much for the most part, but like in certain areas I can put the guest picture and the name and the title and everything, and it's just going to make it really pop, So we're working on a graphic for that. I think I'll put it in this episode because I have it now, but he put it now. He created this overlay. This is what an overlay is. If you guys don't know, an overlay is as you see, as we're talking around me, there's a border now. Doesn't really take up too much space, just a nice little decoration around the edge. And it also, says the title down here, and it says, go subscribe, whichever side it's on. This is all pre-edit. And above right here, it has all the socials, the YouTube, all that stuff. And so we created that overlay, which you'll see. And then we're just working on other things. So that's a goal of mine, to really work on that. I got to work on, the socials as far as like Facebook. I don't really go on there too much, but I get some pretty good traction. And so I need to work on, the banner there. Same thing with YouTube. Just work on all that stuff. So shout out Klaus. I'll be talking with Klaus with that stuff more. We already have stuff in the works. Another thing, getting into Klaus, I really want to work on merch, and at least have something made to start wearing around, to just create a buzz. I definitely want to do that this month. So working with Klaus, I want to work on a t-shirt design or something. I was thinking, and you guys let me know, I was thinking hats, shirts, obviously, maybe socks. And this isn't all this month. This is just the list I'm making. But for sure, I want to come out. I think for sure this month, I want to come out with a hat. So if you guys, hopefully you guys be on the lookout for hats that should be coming soon. I have an idea, and I have a guy, and pretty sure I'm going to work with a sponsor that's going to take care of us with the hats. So I'm excited about that. But other than that, I want to do hats. I want to do shirts. I want to do socks. Koozies, like for drinks, like when your hands get cold, I want to make koozies. I want to make coasters because, but like nice coasters. I think I want to make like Slob, like limited edition coasters. Make them like glass or something etched out of something, or I don't know. I want to make some really nice ones and sell a few of those. What else was on my list? But yeah, so and working with that, I think me and Klaus could come up. Or what I love about Klaus, dude, is one, he's super cool guy. I haven't never spoke to him in over the phones. I don't know what he sounds like. I'm not. I hope this isn't racist or a bad thing, but I assume because of where he's from, he maybe has an accent. But when we talk during text, he has great grammar, like really good. So I'm assuming he's just maybe an English speaker that also knows whatever his language is. I apologize, Klaus. And so he's really easy to talk to, and the thing I love about him the most is I've always been trying to find an artist because I don't know what I like. When I wanted to create a logo, I didn't have an idea. I didn't want to be like, oh, I like so-and-so's logo, make me something like that. I didn't want that at all. And what I wanted was, because artists, if they really love what they do as far as like creating art or creating, a logo or something for someone, if they love to do that, you'll find the right person where, yes, they get paid for it too, but they also truly love what they do, and you can see in their work the time and effort they put into it, the ideas, the thoughts. So I was like, I think it'd be cool to find an artist that bro, go free with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I know there's some artists out there that, and I'll say artists, everyone's a fucking artist when it comes down to it if you think about it, but like let's just say barbers, right? Sometimes it's cool to just be like, bro, you're a good barber. I trust you. I know you're not going to make me look fucked up. I know you know my face structure and everything, so I know you'll just do what you've been wanting to do. Like, I'm sure barbers get tired of being told, hey, give me this. They show a picture or some basic shit they've been doing over and over again. I'm sure they love every now and then to just be like, bro, let me try some shit on you. So with Klaus, or with, at the time when I was looking for someone to do the logo, that's what I wanted. I wanted to just be like, bro, this is the name of my podcast. And one of the things I wanted, and I know it was like a little bit extra, but of me, but it was, I'm just going to pay for this. So I wanted, what I wanted. And, so I just told Klaus, I was like, this is the name of my podcast. These are my, my socials, my Instagram, my TikTok. This is their YouTube. If you can just please like go to one of the pages, just glance over a few things, get a feel for what my podcast is, the kind of topics we talk about, whatever, the way I look, whatever, and just create me whatever, and then we'll go from there. And the dude was like, hell yeah, I have ideas already, so let's do it. I want to say even less, but I want to say within a week, he sent me his first like mock-up, and it was dope. And from there, we just kind of threw some things around. And I'll say this, from what his first idea, we didn't change much about it. I think we threw in the pug. Then it was cool because then he threw in the pug, and then I was like, pug's cool. Could you put a gold chain on him? He was like, for sure. Did the gold chain, send it back. It was pug with the gold chain. And then I was like, could you change the color of the wording to this color or a different color? Because I don't really like that. I think it blends in too much with the background. For sure, no problem. Went back, and then send it back to me again. And we just went back and forth until it's what I wanted. And then I said yes. And then I paid him his money. But dude was sick, bro. Bro went above and beyond. Not only did he actually go to my pages, he actually follows me. So he follows my personal, which, fuck it, I love it. He follows the podcast, obviously, and I think he subscribed on YouTube. I don't know. I got to hit him up. Klaus, did you? I don't know. And so dude was dope. Messaged me after he followed, and he was like, damn, bro, like, this is another thing, too, and I'm not shitting on him once again, but, like, I didn't, as someone that's from a different country, I would assume he doesn't know certain lingo and stuff, but he saw the Instagram, and he was like, damn, bro, you got motion. And he was like, okay, cool, I like this. Just hearing someone say motion, just different. I don't know. But dude was cool. So, and then he followed the podcast page, and yeah, man, and ever since then, feel like we've had a great, workship. I don't know what you call them, but yeah, so I don't know. Klaus is dope, dude. I'm sorry, I can't get enough of this guy. And but yeah, so merch, like I was saying, and then I need to work on getting a new intro song and a new intro video because if you guys don't notice, the intro song one is always getting copyrighted. So when I get to the point where I can monetize the podcast, that's something that could affect me. So any flags or any copyrights of any sort could just stop me from or being promoted, putting out, getting views, or getting paid for the video, whatever. So I need to create my own song. So there's a few bands, a band that I've talked to, and a DJ that I've talked to that I want to work with to create an intro. And once I can get that done, get the song done, then I think I'm going to work with my little brother to he's going to help me record a new intro. I don't know what we're doing with that yet either. But like I said, I have ideas, so that's another thing I want to accomplish. And then, like I think I said, I don't know if I did say this, but I want to pre-record some episodes. This is obviously one, but this one's gonna go out as soon as it's done. Like I said, I wanted this episode to come out, March 1st to announce the break, but March 5th is still fine, single digits. Hallelujah. And so this one will come out, but I do want to pre-record some this month. Nothing's going to get posted as far as new episodes during the break. I'm not going to say this month. I don't know I think I might do a little March into April or I don't know. Maybe March will be just what I need. Just until I'm comfortable enough to jump back into it and know that I've knocked all these off, and now I can continue the podcast with once a week on Thursdays, editing, making clips, and that's the only thing I have to do. I don't have to work on any of this other stuff because it'll already be done. But I do want to pre-record some episodes, maybe some solo ones, maybe some guest ones. Not too sure, but and just to have them. So come April, and this is not forever. This is not the structure forever, but for now, in the meantime, until I can, find an editor. Mainly editing is the main thing. If I could just go record, come back, and even if they just edited and just send me everything, and I could make my clips and post them and everything, that's totally fine too. But that just takes a lot out of my time. So I want to pre-record some. Also, I'm probably going to have to clearly edit these. So then come April, I have time and I can just put these out to cover me. So that way I can have, a week where I don't have to do anything because I have pre-recorded episodes already edited, already clipped up and everything. And I just need to post them if anything. I do want to do that for a while. It'll buy me time. It'll also give me time to not stress about what needs to be done. Meeting my deadlines as far as every Thursday morning posting, and also gives me time to be like, you know what, I have one episode that's coming out that's already done. I have 2 episodes already edited, ready to go as well, which is 2 weeks in advance. So I'm gonna chill this week, and I can give myself that room. This is just until, obviously, if there's like a current event that's happening, I want that one. I'm gonna hurry up and try to edit that one. That's gonna be a special one. Like a special reason to stay up late and edit and get that out specifically that week. But anything else, I'll have it pre-planned. And then, I can do it that way. So that's another big thing I want to work on. And then, and I know this doesn't sound, I don't know. Actually, I don't know what this is. So I want to, if you guys don't know, I also have the Slobs on the block, or the Slob on the block, which is a little thing I had started back, in, I don't know, October, November, I think, maybe September, where, I wanted to do like on the street, like man on the street questions, with the little mics, cut up little clips, just asking questions, goofy questions, getting answers, going around just interviewing different people on the street. Started that, did like 2 videos, had a fun blast with it. It did really well. I mean, from just the videos I posted on Instagram, each one at least 1,000 views, which is good. I know it doesn't sound like a lot to people, but for me, for the podcast, that's comparing that to the podcast, that's really good, And so it was a thing a lot of people really liked. I was doing, I did one at the Run Club. And then the next one I posted, it was just one me and my buddy Caesar did, where it was just more of like a vlog of our time in San Diego one day. And I like that. Not that, I mean, fuck it. I guess I'll make some vlogs, but I think the Slob on the block at this point is just me going out. making vlogs. And yeah, maybe in between I sprinkle in some questions or ask some people, maybe we have a segment where man on the street segment, and that's where I start asking questions. And I don't want to limit myself on this project. I really like it. So, and it's simple as far as when it comes to like, it's not simple when it's the goal is to go out and just ask people questions, random strangers questions. That's not simple. It's actually very hard. I wouldn't say for everyone, but it's hard for myself. You would think, someone that has done stand up and does the podcast and likes to be center of attention, you think this would be right up my alley. But yeah, no, it's really tough. It's a weird thing to go out in public with little mics, which are fine. You're hidden, but you have a phone on a tripod and you're setting up in the public, and some people just don't like it. Some people feel a certain way, so those are tough. But if I was to just do like a vlog style where the goal is just to record me and whoever I'm with, mainly, me being the main person, but if I could just record us having funny conversations, doing things and hanging out, and then every now and then sprinkle in some questions and man on the street stuff, then I want to do that. And that'll be a lot easier. Even if I don't get any questions in with some random people, at least I have like a good video. And I have some, and already this Saturday I'm recording one with some friends. We have an idea of a video. And this isn't like, I don't want to make like skits. I mean, I don't know. I say I don't want to, but I've been approached by friends that want to, and I'm like, what? It would be fun to act or just to make a funny video. Just something stupid, something to have fun with. But this isn't going to be like skits. It's more going to be, just like day in the life type thing stuff. I don't know, but so we have like a video planned this weekend that I'm really excited to do, and so I think that's another thing I'm going to work on during this break is recording some stuff for that. Really just trying to get myself out there in another type of outlet. Maybe there's people that don't really like podcasts, and then if I create this, they like more of this platform, or what's the word? Not platform. They like this. They prefer this. What's it called? Not platform. Fuck me. I don't know I can't remember what it's called. But they prefer this opposed to like a podcast setting. They like, going out and seeing things and, whatever. So I'm going to work on that. And I think that, and the goal for that is, one, it's very fun to do, especially when you're just doing it with friends, like I was saying. And then two, use that to push towards like, hey, I also have a podcast. Go check that out, and that can hopefully help with that. And who knows, stuff from that can also create stories that I can do on the podcast. It helps itself. It's a win-win. So yeah, guys, that's just some stuff that I really want to work on during this break. And one last thing I want to mention. If you guys follow me on my personal account, Instagram, it's not inactive or anything. I just logged out of it. Right now, I only have access to the podcast Instagram page and I'm not going to announce this on social media because I think it's fucking dumb. If you announce, like, I hate when people announce, like, guys, I'm going to go on a break. If you don't hear from me, you can text me. If you don't have my number, then I guess we're really not friends. Like, some bullshit like that. Like, bro, you're only doing this because you want attention. You want people to message you and be like, no, why? Why are you taking a break? No, don't do it. We need you. I like when you post stuff. I'm not doing that, and I think when people do that, that's what they're fucking doing. When people tell me, or when I see it posted on their story, I'm just like, you follow me still? I didn't even know we were still friends. So fucking do what you want to do. I'm not doing that social media wise. I think the podcast for me is where I can brag about things like that or talk about things like that. And if you listen to this, then you know. If you don't, then you have my number and you'll probably text me or call me about it. And if you're messaging me on Instagram and I'm not replying, then this is why. And you'll never know why. You'll just think I'm a piece of shit. But yeah, so I'm just taking a break. Like I said, I'm going to have access to the podcast, so Instagram. And I really so when I created the podcast Instagram for the Slobs on the Slob on the Block, I made it a point to only follow 2 accounts, which is my personal and my podcast page. I don't follow anyone else. And at first I was like, I just want to see what this is like, just to get people to, if they really like it, they're not doing it for a follow back. They're like, bro, I want more of this on my feed. Let me add this so I can see more of it. Then that's what I really fucking want. And then 2, it just worked out in its favor. Maybe this is God's planning of, futuristic planning. But at this time when I created this back in last year, back in last year. Last year, like I said, that I was like, I'm just gonna follow myself in the podcast, and that's it. No one else. I don't care who adds me. No one else is getting a follow back. And that kind of helped because when I decided to take this break, I logged back into that page, the Slob on the Block page, and no motion. Nothing was happening there, clearly. But because I only followed 2 people, and one of those people was my personal that I am no longer using right now, nothing was getting posted about me or my stuff on there. And then, I've been posting it on the podcast lately, so only old things from the podcast clips I've been posting were popping up on there. Other than that, it was just a feed of just like, you should follow this person. I think you like this. And then I liked a few like inspirational quotes, God quotes. And then now it's just sending me all that. So that Instagram is just filled with that. There's no junk on it. There's no, no weird stuff. There's no one messaging me. There's no one sending me things. There's no one's like negative stuff I'm seeing. There's no one happy stuff. It's just random accounts sending just positive vibes, and I really fucking like that. And on top of that, like, it's cool to scroll through, but after like 3, you get it. You know what I'm saying? So that also is just keeping me off social media more, because I'm like, even if I go into the Instagram, those are the only 2 I want to look at, and there's really not much going on with them if I'm posting. And I will say this, even for the podcast, I'm going to post this, and then I'm probably just going to log out of it. I'm not going to reply to any comments or nothing, or any messages, and not because I'm being a snob or like, ooh, I'm being mysterious. No, my plan was to get off social media altogether, but I'm like, it's kind of impossible when one of my goals is to post on the Slob on the Block. So I'm going to keep that one up, and but yeah, with the podcast, this episode will be out, and then if you go to it, then this will be the only post. This will be the last post you see for a while until I come back. And but yeah, guys, and I'll say this too: a big reason I also wanted to get off social media was, and this may be something very depressing and not cool that I would normally say. Not that I say a lot of cool things, but I don't know, man. I'm sure people that have social media feel this. You get depressed sometimes from social media. I do, at least. Not depressed, but I feel a certain way. I see what my issue is, when you have like, Instagram, yes, I get it. If you have 1,000 followers, doesn't mean you talk to every one of them. Doesn't mean you know every single one of them. Doesn't mean you interact with every single one of them. I get that. But it is crazy to have an Instagram account or social media account where you have these thousands of friends or hundreds of friends, and, no one really talks to you. No one really interacts with you. No one really comments on your stuff. No one likes your stuff. No, it gets kind of like sad. And I had to tell myself, you can't really base yourself off the likes and stuff you get on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? They'll come eventually, but it just kind of affected me in a way, just seeing just not being acknowledged by people, even people that I knew, on there. So I just had to like step away. Specifically, that's why I said my personal. And like I've always said, and I truly mean it, I feel this even to this day now still, if I didn't have the podcast or something to promote, I wouldn't need social media. I wouldn't want social media. And I think maybe this might be the start of me slowly pulling away from my personal and only having a podcast, only for, I guess, business or, the podcast or Slob on the Block, something to promote, but I don't need a personal, really. I used to say I needed a personal at least to, help promote the podcast, but I've been doing that and nothing much is changing, so I don't think it'd be a big deal if I just stopped using my personal altogether. I don't know. Maybe this is me getting older, but yeah, I don't really want to take part in social media as much no more. And so for that reason, if you guys are listening and you know me and you've been messaging me or sending me stuff, I apologize, but that's why. So if you have my number, hit me up. If not, here it is right here. I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, guys, before I go, I just want to say thank you to every single person that has either watched an episode, commented, liked, interacted on a story or anything that's just shown me some love on the podcast, that is giving me an ounce of hope that I should continue doing this. I love every one of you. So appreciative of all you guys. I know I bitch all the time about this stuff, and it's just me being me, not being appreciative like I need to, but yeah, this will be a time when I'm going to really appreciate wanting to be on the podcast and stuff. And it'll be good for me. It'll be a good break. I think it'll be a good break for you guys. Whoever's been watching, these 40 of you that have been watching it, maybe it's a break for me, you know? And if you're just listening to this for the first time, then you guys are lucky because you have so much to go back on. There's 190 some episodes that you guys can just binge, listen, or whatever, watch. And yeah, guys, so I love every one of you. Shout out fucking Daniel Rodriguez, bro. Biggest shout out ever. He's the reason I have a studio. Obviously, I'm in my house right now. Actually, I'm in an undisclosed location. And so I'm not in the studio, but shout out to fucking Daniel. Make sure you guys follow him. Book him for video shoots, photo shoots, podcasts, shoots. He does it all, man. Hit him up. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Slobs on the Pod. I love you all very much, and this break will be good. Hopefully, I come back. I mean, I will come back stronger, better, faster, more. I don't know, but I'm gonna come back better. I promise. I will. That's the whole. Otherwise, this would all be for nothing. And hopefully, you guys are still here when I get back. Thank you guys. I love you. Am I forgetting anything? Nope. I don't think so. Nope. I love you guys.